There is a specific moment you know well, even if you have never said it out loud. Someone starts getting close to you. They show up consistently. They start to actually know you, not just the surface version, but the real one underneath. And right there, right at the exact moment it starts to feel real, something in you quietly starts to pull back. You cannot always explain it. You just feel the urge to create distance, right when distance is the last thing you should want. Maybe you stop replying as fast. Maybe you start finding small flaws in them that did not bother you a week ago. Maybe you pick a fight over something that would not have mattered before. Or maybe you do not do anything dramatic at all. You just quietly, slowly start giving less. Less of your time, less of your attention, less of the parts of you that were starting to feel safe enough to show. And the strangest part is that none of this happens because you stopped caring. It happens because you started caring too much, and that terrified you more than losing them ever could. Think about the last time this happened to you. Someone was doing everything right. They were kind, consistent, present. And instead of relaxing into that, some part of you tensed up. You started waiting for the moment it would fall apart. And somewhere along the way, you realized you would rather be the one who ends it than the one who gets left. So you did, quietly, in 100 small ways, before they ever got the chance to leave first. Here is what nobody tells you about this pattern. It is not about them. It was never really about them. You could hand this exact behavior to 10 different people who treated you 10 different ways, and the pattern would still show up, because it is not a reaction to who they are. It is a reaction to what closeness itself means to you. Closeness, to you, does not just feel warm. It feels dangerous. It feels like exposure. And your nervous system learned a long time ago that exposure is not always safe. This usually goes back further than you think. Somewhere in your early life, closeness and pain got tangled together in a way you never consciously chose. Maybe someone who was supposed to stay did not. Maybe love in your house came with conditions, so getting close to someone always meant bracing for what they might ask of you, or take from you, or use against you later. Maybe you loved someone completely once, gave them everything you had, and it was not enough to keep them. And somewhere in that experience, your mind drew a conclusion it never told you about directly. It decided that closeness is the door pain walks through. So your body built a system to protect you from that door. Not a system you designed on purpose. A system that built itself quietly, in the background, without asking your permission. And that system has one job. The second someone gets close enough to actually hurt you, create distance, fast, before they get the chance. It does not care that this person is different. It does not care that this person has done nothing to earn your fear. It only cares about pattern matching. Closeness equals risk. Risk equals retreat. That is the entire equation, running underneath every relationship you have ever had. This is why you can want closeness and run from it at the exact same time, and both of those things can be completely true. You are not confused. You are not broken. You are operating two systems that were never designed to agree with each other. One part of you is aching for connection, has been aching for it for years, quietly hoping someone will stay long enough to actually know you. And another part of you, an older part, a part that formed before you had any say in the matter, is standing guard at the door, convinced that letting someone in is how you get hurt again. Think about how this plays out in real time. Someone starts asking real questions about your life. Not small talk, real questions. And instead of feeling closer to them, you feel exposed, like they are getting too close to something you have spent years keeping hidden. So you deflect, you make a joke, you change the subject. You tell yourself you are just a private person, which is true, but it is not the whole truth. The whole truth is that being known feels like standing somewhere with no cover, and some part of you has never stopped expecting to get hurt out in the open like that. Or think about the version of this that shows up as impatience. Someone does something small, something that would not have bothered you 2 months ago, and suddenly it feels unbearable. You find yourself annoyed by the way they text, frustrated by a habit that used to be charming, searching, almost unconsciously, for a reason this will not work. That search is not really about them either. It is your nervous system trying to build a case, trying to find justification for the distance it already wants to create, because distance feels safer than the alternative. There is also a quieter version of this, one that does not look like pulling away at all from the outside. You stay. You keep showing up. But you stop bringing your full self to the relationship. You keep a part of yourself in reserve, always, just in case. You never fully unpack, even in the relationships that last for years. You love carefully, at 70%, because some part of you decided a long time ago that giving everything is how you end up with nothing. From the outside, this looks like commitment. From the inside, it is still the same wall, just built quieter, built so well that even you sometimes forget it is there. And this shows up in the aftermath too, not just in the moment someone gets close, but in how you explain it to yourself afterward. You tell yourself you were being smart. You tell yourself you were protecting your time, your energy, your peace. You build a reasonable-sounding story around a decision that was never really about reason at all. And the tragedy of that story is that it lets you avoid the harder question underneath it, which is not whether the distance was justified, but whether you were ever going to let anyone close enough to find out. Here is the part that is hard to sit with, but needs to be said clearly. This pattern does not just cost you the people who were not right for you. It costs you the people who were. Somewhere in your past, there is very likely someone who was patient, who was steady, who was trying to do exactly what you needed, and you pulled away anyway, because your system could not tell the difference between someone dangerous and someone simply getting close. The tragedy of this pattern is that it does not protect you from bad relationships. It protects you from good ones too, because it cannot tell them apart. Closeness is closeness, and closeness means danger, no matter who is standing on the other side of it. This is not something you can think your way out of, because it was never a thinking problem to begin with. You cannot just decide to stop pulling away, the same way you cannot just decide to stop flinching when something moves toward your face too fast. The flinch happens before the thought does. But here is what you can do. You can start noticing the moment it happens. You can start catching yourself in the exact second you feel the urge to create distance, and instead of acting on it immediately, you can pause and ask one simple question. Am I actually in danger right now, or does this just feel like the danger I used to be in? That question will not fix everything instantly, but it does something important. It creates a half-second of space between the old system and your next move, and in that half-second, you get to choose something different than the automatic response. You get to stay in the conversation a little longer than you normally would. You get to answer the real question instead of deflecting it. You get to let someone see one more layer than you usually allow, and notice, carefully, that the world does not end when you do. It will not feel natural at first, and it is not supposed to. Healing this pattern does not feel like relief in the moment. It feels like risk, every single time, because you are asking a system built entirely around avoiding pain to sit still while something that once meant pain happens again, without running. That discomfort is not proof that you are doing it wrong. It is proof that you are finally doing something different than the automatic response that has been running the show for years. Growth here is quiet and slow, and it rarely feels like victory in the moment it happens. The people who are actually safe will not punish you for needing that pause. They will not disappear the moment you are slow to trust them. Real safety does not require you to already be healed before you let someone in. It just requires you to keep showing up, imperfectly, one honest moment at a time, even while the old system is still learning that not every door leads to the same room it used to. You did not choose to build this pattern. It built itself, quietly, out of moments that hurt you before you had the tools to process them. But you get to choose what happens now. You get to choose whether the next person who gets close is met with the old system, running on autopilot, or with a version of you that is a little more willing to stay, even when staying feels unfamiliar. Closeness was never actually the danger. It only felt that way because of what closeness used to cost you. And the version of you that is still waiting on the other side of that fear, the one who wants to be known, wants to be chosen, wants to let someone stay, that version of you is not gone. It is just waiting for enough proof that this time, it might actually be safe to stay too.